Hello, welcome to the Basketball Soapbox. I'm your host, Daniel Daly, and this one will be going over round one of the NBA playoffs. The playoffs have been good so far, but let's get into it. Uh, the Miami Heat are tied with the Boston Celtics 1-1. People are surprised by this revelation of the Miami Heat coming into Boston and winning game two. Um, Especially after game one, where it seemed like everything was clicking on all cylinders for the Boston Celtics. Game one, the Boston Celtics won 114 to 94. And looking at that standpoint of Jason Tatum getting his first career triple double, the Boston Celtics shooting well from three, looking like the Boston Celtics that we've seen in the regular season. Really just out shooting teams with the three. Sam Hauser coming in off the bench, Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench, and just a solid outing from the starting five, from Drew Holiday to Derek White to Kristaps Porzingis, Jaylen Brown. And it just seemed like the Celtics, obviously their talent, their scoring output, their offense, which is probably one of the best in the NBA. I believe they finished second behind the Indiana Pacers. But looking at it from that standpoint, it looked like everything was going to be fine for the Boston Celtics, and that the Miami Heat were just outmatched, especially without Jimmy Butler in the first game. Everything was just clicking for the Boston Celtics in the first game. However, we get to game two, and it's completely flipped the script. And I told people before this series, talking with a couple of people, saying, hey, Miami's going to get a game or two. And they're like, you're crazy. This should be a sweep for Boston. I'm like, Boston, one, doesn't operate that way. And you have to give credit to Eric Spoelstra. He's one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the NBA at this point in time. I always compare him to the Eastern Conference, Greg Popovich. They're the Eastern Conference Spurs, where they're just zombies. They don't go away. You have to put them away in order to defeat the Miami Heat. And in game two, completely flipped the script on the Boston Celtics and outshot the Boston Celtics from three. In game one, the Boston Celtics were 22 from 49 from three. In game two, the Miami Heat set their record for 23 threes in a game. I believe they are third all time now, shooting 53% from the three, which is usually the Boston Celtics MO. Get up as many threes as you can, outpace them, shoot as many threes, and you're going to win the game. And that completely flipped the script for Boston, even though they had a combined 61 points from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. It just wasn't enough, and especially with the Miami Heat's defense really set up to take out Derek White, Drew Holiday, and Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis had a terrible game, shooting 1 for 9. Drew Holiday didn't shoot much better, a little better. And Derek White was ineffective, even though he had okay scoring numbers. The Miami Heat's plan was to basically take those guys out, because when the other starters play and they're hitting shots like that, the Celtics are difficult to beat, especially with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown getting nearly 60 points a game between the two of them. Derek White, Drew Holiday, and Kristaps Porzingis combined shot 10 for 29 from the field. That's 34% from the field. That's terrible efficiency. And then the bench didn't help. Peyton Pritchard played 20 minutes and didn't score in the game too. The Miami Heat did a perfect job defensively, making sure the Boston Celtics didn't get in the rhythm, didn't get those three-point shots that they're usually hunting and looking for. And when you get that standpoint from the Celtics, when they're not shooting threes, they're playing the two-point game, which people have been crying for all season, that they get inside the paint and score. But shooting the three is very important to the Boston Celtics offense when they do that. Very important. When you're sitting there and you're just getting to the points and other teams are shooting the three, and yes, the Celtics defense was terrible. That they should have closed out and made adjustments and got out there and took away those threes from Miami Heat. And I understand that Kristaps Porzingis wasn't stepping out, because that's usually not what the Celtics do against the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat are one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA, three-point percentage-wise. So to sit there and look at it and see Kristaps Porzingis not going out there and trying to contest and get up on those pick and rolls, really hurt the Boston Celtics, and they paid for it. And the Miami Heat shot them to death and took away the threes on the defensive end. So really creating the Celtics offense to be stagnant. And when you look at that and you look at Tyler Hero having 24 points and 14 assists, that's something that Tyler Hero usually doesn't do. He usually gets the scoring, but the creation and playmaking for everybody else really, really, really helped the Miami Heat in game two. Bam Adebayo added 21 in that game. Obviously, that was a shocker for the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics are, of course, going crazy because, they have the history of blowing leads and stuff like that. And that's not sitting well with a lot of Boston Celtics fans. And I understand that, but we got to be realistic. The Miami Heat are probably not going to shoot like that again. Let's just hope that, because we know teams like to turn into the Golden State Warriors against the Boston Celtics. But overall, the Boston Celtics are going to be fine. I believe the Boston Celtics are going to be fine, and they just got to pick up that back up with that defensive intensity. Derek White and Drew Holiday have to be the taking the head off the snake, shut down Tyler Hero, make sure Jaime Jaquez isn't being involved and being active, and just control Bam Adebayo, who always plays well against us. Against the Boston Celtics. So the Boston Celtics just have to get back to what they're doing, because overall I wasn't even mad at the Boston Celtics offense. They were doing what they needed to do. It was mainly the defense of the Boston Celtics and not taking away the Miami Heat threes when the house was on fire. Very tough to win games when teams are hitting threes. It doesn't matter how many twos you get. You have to, one, up your offense and shoot. The Celtics have to get back to playing their game of shooting the threes and that creating opportunities for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to get to the basket. But you got to be able to knock down those shots. And the Miami Heat did a very, very good job with that zone that they always have and junking up the game and making things work. Get kudos to the Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra. That's what they're going to do. But we'll see what happens in Game 3 on Saturday. That's going to be today. I'm filming this early in the morning. But overall, it's going to be interesting to see how the Boston Celtics adjust to that and see if the Boston Celtics come out with the intensity to put the Miami Heat away.